Hey, what's going on, guys? Today we're going to go ahead and install brand new rotors and pads on a 370Z. This happens to be a Nissan edition, so that also applies to the Sport brake package on a regular 370Z. We're going to go ahead and take off the lug nuts and jack up the car, and that'll be the first thing we do. So go ahead and take out your lug nuts, and then we'll go ahead and take off the wheel. Alright, so now that we have the wheel off, what we're going to do is we're actually going to go ahead and start taking out the pads. And to start with that, we have to actually take out these two cotter pins right here and here. And then we take off this clip, and then we have to take out the pads themselves. So we're going to go ahead and start with the cotter pins. There's one. There's two. The next thing that I do is I use a small screwdriver, anything that can fit in these two holes. There's one right here and here. And then you just lightly tap them with a hammer. You can see it popped out over on that side. You just take, a pair of pliers and pull them out. On the second one, you have to be careful about this clip here. It sometimes springs out at you. Spring. Next, we're going to go ahead and take out the pads themselves. So the first thing we have to do is go ahead and loosen this bolt and move this wire out of the way. All you have to do is just kind of pull it out and just move it out of the way. Next, you just take a 1/2 inch socket and put it on there. You're just going to bend this out of the way. The next thing we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and remove the two bolts that are actually holding the caliper itself onto the hub. These are actually back here. There's two of them. They're really big bolts. This is a 15/16 socket, by the way. And what you're going to do is you're going to slowly pull it off of the rotor. And then just kind of let it lay there. So now that you have the caliper itself off, now it's time to get the OEM rotor off. Unfortunately, sometimes these rotors get stuck to the hub, as you can see here, probably due to this rust and all that. So what Nissan actually does is they provide a little hole right here that if you screw in a nut, it will actually pop off the rotor. And luckily for us, that original bolt that you took off up here for this one little bracket up there will actually fit in this hole. How simple that was. Just unscrew it again. Now that the old rotor is off, just going to go ahead and spray the hub. I'm just going to go ahead and I'm just going to go ahead and wipe it off. Now our next step is to actually go ahead and put on our rotors. We are actually going with R1 Concepts Premier Series double drilled and slotted rotors. The reason we are doing this is because my rotors were warped. Alright, so now we just go ahead and do the process in reverse. Alright, now that we have the caliper back on, we're going to go ahead and actually put in the StopTech brake pads that we have. This will probably be the hardest part because sometimes it's a hard squeeze getting your new pads in, considering there's a very sizable difference between the life of this pad and what's left in this. And you'll see sometimes the pistons themselves have actually come back out a little bit, so you actually have to compress them again before you actually put the pads in. Now that we've gotten the pads in, we're going to go ahead and replace the cotter pins and springs. You may need to rotate the pins going through so that you can get the little smaller cotter pins in. To do that, you just take your pliers and grab it and rotate it. Now you just got to put the wheel back on, put your lug nuts back on, make sure you tighten them down with a torque wrench, and then all that's left is to go run through the braking period that your brake kit manufacturer provides you with.